I think what's funny about nice mash is like that's something you could actually say about someone in a situation. You'd be like, whoa, that was a nice mash. So mashing, we all know mashing is not a nice term. It's not a respectful term. It's not nice counterattack. That's not what we're saying. We're saying nice mash. Like, oh, you're just fucking pressing it. So in Japanese it's abare, right? Which is like, the best way to explain it is like violent flailing. Right? It's one of those things that both in English and Japanese, it's just disrespectful as fucking term. But there are places where mashing is something that could be like, sometimes you gotta fight back. So let's look at the different types of mashing. So you have mashing straight up. This one, I'm sure maybe you have, maybe you haven't. You've done something like this in training mode. So you have the CBU mash immediately, right? So, right? I got smoked, you mashed immediately. Smoked him. This is probably one that people disrespect the most. This is the one people are like, yeah, fuck this. This guy's just mashing. This is like the disrespectful one. There's another one though. We call it fuzzy mash or delay mash, where it's just like you're slightly delaying your press so that if the opponent attacks quickly, then you block. And if the opponent leaves a big gap, then you mash. Mashing is actually pretty important against Ino. You can't hold all her shit. You just really can't. And a lot of stuff has gaps. So some people kindly call it challenge. But I mean, I just like saying mash, right? So against Ino, fuzzy mashing is pretty important. So, okay. So if I just mash, sometimes I'll win, sometimes I'll lose. Right now I'm getting smoked. Okay? But if I use fuzzy, aka delay mash, option select mash, whatever you want to call it, I can get through this, right? You know, my success rate is pretty good, right? Why do you have to do this? You can't let Ino take her turn there. If you let her get this, the world is hers, right? So you have to kind of counterattack, but if you just mash, she can beat you up a bunch of ways. So we'll use this recording. This is my usual fuzzy mash timing. This smokes you, okay? So if I use the same timing, destroyed. But I'll get through the other two. So these are like the main two. If you want to like just mash, it can be kind of hard. You're kind of doing it just, I'm not going to say blindly, but like you're committing really hard to it. Where the fuzzy mash, the delay mash keeps you a little bit safe. If an Ino player like knows, right? If they go for this, they should actually give you the nice mash on this one. They should give you the nice mash on this one. And next time, maybe they should try something else to target that defense. We gotta bring back Soul because we're talking about mashing reversals, DP, super, stuff like that. But you can still put your opponent in pretty hard situations where you're like, you know what? Nice mash. Examples, right? This is a classic too. This is like one of the first things we learned about the release version of Strive, about how Milia cannot safe jump 7 frame DPs. I did something that I can't do, and he countered it correctly. This is good. Or is there a counterplay? Of course. But that's the interaction between you and your opponent. Sometimes people really aren't trying to play the game with you. You know what I mean? They're only trying to play the game by themselves. So like the nice mash is kind of like a backhanded compliment. But there are situations where like you do kind of have to do something or you're just sitting there. Like what else can you say? Being able to identify what type of mashing your opponent is doing and why they're doing it in the situation will help you out a lot and will make you tilt less when you get hit, or maybe don't get hit, but just see the opponent mashing, right? So let's go back to Ino as an example. So why is Ino so important? Again, you literally need to challenge. Like you have to challenge or else she's going to stay on your ass, and she has fucking instant overheads that go into other instant overheads, and once she gets a meter, you're done. So you have to take advantage of some of the gaps. So for example, once I played an Ino player, just like somebody in the tower randomly, who kept doing this to me. This lovely JD here. This lovely JD on hit is, I think it's like -3 or something. So that will counter that 100%. In the heat of a match, it's kind of hard to actually match that. This sequence is so fast, her JD is basically instant, that you kind of need to be like weighing a little bit of your mental processes to being like, JD is coming. And there's other stuff she could do after JD too. She's not going to just land in 2K. It's because my opponent was doing that a lot. And after these games, my opponent said, she's like, GG's, you're a masher though. And I just didn't say anything. That means he wasn't correctly identifying. He just thought I was straight up mashing. But I basically had to know that he would go for this. And to be fair, he was doing it a lot. Similarly, another one. This is a classic, and I played against someone offline, like really early when the game came out. I played against someone offline, who I did that to. I did this a bunch because he kept pushing it. He was like, "Bro, you're a fucking masher," and I'm like, "I can't let I can't let you do this. You're not that plus, and you're not stopping the mash." So being able to identify is really, really important. If you think someone is really straight up just mashing, you need to have strings that are designed to beat just mashing. If you think someone is doing delay mashing, you need strings that will help you not only hit the delay mash, but also make it so that you know they're delay mashing. If you think someone's DPing a lot out of your strings, you either need to build a DP safe string, or you need to build a string that keeps them in block stun but lets you see that they are DPing. Okay, right? Right? And of course, I can like run up grab, but it's not only is it really hard, as you can tell by like me messing it up over and over, it's pretty tough to do. The actual answer that you would do. So you see, I built a string that has a spot where people really like to DP and really like to reversal. And if they block, then I get to keep my pressure. But if they DP, then I punish their DP. And you can use this to be like, oh, he's really DPing in this spot a bunch. Definitely try to build these situations out. So then when your opponent is seriously right, it'll make you feel so much better and you won't tilt. When your opponent is really right against you, you can actually give them the very meaningful compliment, nice smash. Right? Any questions?